now we're lucky to be joined, as I said, in the studio by not one but two boxing superstars. Well, one a future world champion and one a former world champion. Good afternoon to unbeaten cruiserweight prospect John Hedges. Hello, John.
How's it going, Andy?
Nice to see you. I'm good. I'm very well, thanks. And his trainer, the legend that is Boxing Hall of Famer, the hitman, Ricky Hatton. Richard, hello.
Yeah, good to see you, my mate.
How are you? You well?
Can't complain, looking forward to, John fighting for his second title in a row. He's gone in the air. He did, done it the old school way, like I did. I won the Central Area title and then went for the British. And he did the same. His last fight, he won the Central Area title. This time he's going for the English. So, it's looking very exciting. I've only been training him 6 weeks. Yeah.
Why such a short amount of time? How did that relationship come about?
Well, I've been friends with John for a while. We've got mutual friends, and we've bumped into each other on holiday and here and there. And he's always, picked me ears, for advice and stuff like that. And I've always been there to give it. And we've always gotten well. But he just said just said he fancied a little bit change from where he'd previously been. There's no fallouts or anything like that. He just fancied a quick change. I said, all right, yeah, no problem. And he said, but we're fighting in 6 weeks. I said, well, you better get your backside down here pretty quick, ain't you then, mate? And he did.
On the Tuesday, didn't it?
And he did, and we got on like house on fire, yeah.
Can you tell, I don't know if you remember this, but back when you used to play football at school, and you'd be two team captains and you pick players and you think he looks a good player, he looks a good player. Can you look at a boxer just standing up even before he's put the gloves on and think he knows what he's doing?
Yeah, very much so, but it can sometimes soon be deceiving, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Sometimes, Tyson Fury, look at the height of him and anything like that, but if you look at his physique, you'd think he'd have no chance, would you?
Yeah.
Not being funny, And if you saw my physique out of training, you'd think I had no chance. But no, you can do. You can get a rough idea of the shape, the build, the big legs. It's always good to have good legs on the boxer. Broad shoulders, height as well. When you think of some of the biggest punches in history, well, when they were tall and lanky, a little bit like Johnny's, Tommy Hitman Hearns could whip his punches in. He's one of the biggest punchers going, and there was nothing on him. So it can be deceiving. But John's got you can see he's got the talent there, he's got the boxing ability there, and the most exciting thing I've found out from working with him, there's so much more we can still add to it.
Yeah. Well, you got big fight obviously coming this weekend. I think it's Nathan. Is it Qualis you're fighting against?
Nathan Qualis, yeah.
What are you expecting from that fight?
Do you know what? It should, like Ricky said, we've gone the old school route. We've got the Southern area first, and then gone straight into another title instead of messing about, building, and that's the way I've kind of took this fight. So it's a step up in a fight. He's had 14 fights, won 13, so he's no fool. Do you know what I mean? He's only lost the one, and that was at a high level. So I've got to expect it to be a hard night's work. It's a 10-round fight. He's going to want to take me into late rounds, and we're going to see. But I've just got to do what I do every day. Do you know what I mean?
This is your first fight with Ricky, right?
First one with Ricky,
I wonder how, even for you subconsciously when you're boxing, do you think you're going to raise your game because you want to impress him?
Yeah, definitely. Like, that was half the reason. I think when I spoke to Rick about moving up to Manchester, it was more, that's what you need. You need that fire in your belly. You need to want to impress someone, because if you don't, it just gets a bit stale. There's nothing wrong with it, but you're just kind of doing the same thing, ticking over, and before you know it, you're at a good level, but you've not improved. Do you know what I mean? So that was the best thing. Like I say, I got down on a Wednesday midweek, and we hit the ground running. Do you know, like we proper put a foot on the gas and got a couple of unbelievable sessions in that week, and it just started to camp off, and it was lovely, mate. If I'm honest with you, everything since then has just been flying.
You must be looking forward to the copper box as well. I mean, Johnny Fisher, whenever he fights there, the atmosphere is always electric.
Yeah.
You looking forward to that?
Well, yeah, definitely. Like, my last fight where I won the Southern area was at the Copper Box, so I can't get no better than that. Do you know what I mean? It's like a second home really for me boxing, and like you say, it's Johnny's from Essex, I'm from Essex. It's all the same crowd. It's whether they've bought a ticket off him or bought a ticket off me, they know us both. So yeah, it's lovely when you think the arena's packed and near enough everyone knows you. It's a great feeling.
The interest will be in, because Johnny has such a big following. Dave Allen has such a big respect in the game, and I think everyone was surprised in the last fight, that Dave Allen, turned it on as well as he did. But it's a real trades fight. Dave Allen's so respected in the game. John Fisher, everyone's so excited of him. He was blasting everyone out. Everyone in the trade, whether you're a trainer, a boxing promoter, or from rival camps, will be interested in this fight, in this show, because it's proper fights on it as well. Five title fights, I think.
Yeah.
on this show, which that's incredible when you think about it. Yeah,
Ricky, you said there about Johnny Fisher and Dave Allen. What about the first fight? Because there was a little bit of controversy around that. Do you think it was the right decision that Johnny got it, or do you think Dave Allen won it?
Very, very hard to say. It wasn't. I think it wasn't. I think the decision could have gone anyway. Depending on which way you looked at it. I think more people were surprised of Dave Allen's performance because Johnny was blasting everyone, wasn't he? So exciting to watch and this and that. But I think this was the first time that Johnny's had to. Well, he's had a proper opponent inside him that's had to make him think a little bit. Dave Allen's got all the tricks in the trade. He used to come down to my gyms when I used to train a kid back in the day called Nathan Gorman. And he used to come down sparring with Nathan, and he had all the tricks in the trade. He knew how to put his head in. He hit him from behind his back and everything like that. He knew all the tricks in the trade.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. Well, it's illegal. The referee couldn't see it. You know what I mean? But it was, and he knew all the tricks in the trade, and that's the first time I think Johnny's had to deal with that. I think he's had opponents with him that have been made for him that will just stand in front, and Johnny can knock him out. And that's the first time he's had to feel, well, hang on a minute, this is a bit different. But like. If Johnny's going to be the force we think he is and the talent I think he is, he'll go back to the gym, he'll work on strategy and everything like that, and he should be a lot better this fight.
How important, Ricky, is it for the likes of, it's Eddie that looks after Johnny Fisher, right? And you're looking after, of course, John. How important is it, not just the fighter you've got, but how important is it from your perspective that the pathway that you, or the opportunity that you give them to get to the very top?
Well, I say this with love. Maybe Johnny has had too many. Let's have it right. In every way, if you punch like Johnny Fisher, you can knock anyone out. What I mean? Let's have it right. Not just. You'd probably say the people he has boxed probably been made for him. Do you know what I mean? Purposely brought in.
That's normal in boxing.
It can be sometimes, but I'm a firm believer of maybe sometimes. But he's a big ticket seller, and you want to keep that going by having him blasting people out. But sooner or later, when somebody hits you back on the chin, that's when you. And I think sometimes you've got to go through the levels of opponent like that. One steady. And I think Johnny's was a little bit more, bigger jumps. If you like, from his previous opponents, to Dave Allen was a massive jump. And I think it showed in the fight. But it's not that Johnny can't put it right.
No.
Absolutely.
I know. And do you think it's just about the win, irrelevant of how he does it?
No, I think it's relevant how he does it.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of people will probably be thinking, I don't think this, because listen, people how many fighters have come up, lost, and got knocked out, and still come on and progressed in their career, and still got to where they set out to get. So, yeah, but I do think I think what's the words I can say? I do think that maybe a lot of people have thought, maybe saying, well, he's probably not the force we first want, we first fought. I think he still can be.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he can go away and learn from it, and that's what defeats are. Doesn't mean the end of your career by your defeat. He won it, but everyone's looking on it as a bit of a. We're surprised about that.
Yeah.
But no, I think these fights are the ones that bring you on and make you improve.
We'll carry on our boxing chat in about 10 minutes. We've got you both till 5, right? I just want to talk a tiny bit of football. I know, John, you're a West Ham fan.
Yeah.
Hold on. No, nothing there. We'll come back to West Ham in a minute. My team's Man United, so we don't want to talk about them. You're a Man City fan. You going to the cup final?
I'm not going to the cup final, unfortunately. What is it, 3 o'clock kickoff, isn't it? So.
I think so.
I've trapped him. He's with me for the day.
4:30.
4:30. Well, that's even worse, because I think the show starts at 5 o'clock.
Okay, you got no chance then.
So depending on what we've not had the running order now, to be honest with you. But I think it's just going to be a little bit of a dash, to be honest with you. But no, my priorities are with John. If I can have one eye on the TV somewhere, I don't know where. I'll obviously watch it and that.
Yeah.
But no, we've got a job to do.
It was a bit weird when he kept saying about going for the first round knockout. It didn't really
What do you do, John? Is to throw everything in the first minute.
What time are you in the ring?
I think I'll be in around 6, 7 o'clock.
Yeah, so it's a bit
probably the first one with the zone.
Yeah. You left it too late for that. You have. Just quickly, we were talking about Kevin De Bruyne, right? 2 questions, Rick. Are you stunned that he's leaving? And 2, what do you make of the fact that Phil Foden might not be his natural replacement?
I don't know. I think Phil Foden has lost a little bit of form recently, you know what I mean? But I mean, God, blimey, you know, he was the player of the year, wasn't he? You know, the form that he was in. How can you maintain that? I mean, how can City maintain the form? Yeah, let's have it right, you know. So, but yeah, Kevin going, I think he probably fills in the team. I do think Kevin De Bruyne is that big a player. I think he does need replacing. To be honest with you, and I mean, to be honest, towards the end of the season, he's been playing out of his skin.
Yeah.
But does that still warrant to give him a contract? Because when he's been getting injured, he's been taking no disrespect forever and a day in order to get him right, which is pretty much of a sign that he might be coming to the end, which will be very, very sorry for Man City fans to see. You know, his legacy there as a Manchester City player is firmly in stone, to be honest, and his legacy there as one of the Premiership's best midfield player for me has been set in stone. But I think it probably is the right time to probably see him and let him go, even though he has been, you know, flying down the home straight of the season. But yeah, I think we do need to replace him, even though Phil Foden is in the side here.
Okay. We'll have more of a boxing chat in just a moment. We'll talk about Manny Pacquiao has decided to get back into the ring, so I'll get your view on that, and we'll talk a bit more football with you, Johnny. I know you're a West Ham fan. Just a reminder, that was a look at the latest boxing action on talkSPORT with our friends at DAZN. Don't miss a massive heavyweight rematch after December's controversial showdown. It's Fisher v Allen 2. It's this Saturday. It's May the 17th. It's live only on DAZN. You can sign up at DAZN.com/boxing now. We are still joined in the studio by unbeaten cruiserweight prospect Johnny Hedges. He's fighting at the weekend at the Copper Box, and he's trained at the legend that he's boxing Hall of Famer Ricky the Hitman Hatton. Now, you and I were all having a little chat in the ad break there, and Ricky, you reminded us it was 20 years ago this June that you fought Costa Azul as well.
Oh, cheers. Thanks for reminding me.
You were just 11 when you had that fight.
Yeah, good.
I mean, that's flown by, isn't it?
No, it's you know, incredible, to be honest with you. Probably Manchester's biggest fight, and even though, you know, we've had a lot of fighters from Manchester that have done the city as proud like I have, but to have someone like Costa Azul come over, you know, pound for pound the best, and number one in the weight division, knocking everybody out to fight one of their own, it was, I think, over Manchester fighters don't think bad of me when I say that, but it was just some night for the city, and for 20-year anniversary. Wow, you know.
Are you doing anything for it?
I am actually doing a sportsman's dinner. It's had nothing to do with me or my personal team, but someone has done a dinner that is going to be a sportsman's dinner in Hyde Town Hall, which is my hometown of Hyde. I was born in Hattersley. I live in G Cross now, but my gym's in Hyde. I've always been from that. I've never moved out of a 5-mile radius, to be honest with you, but I'm doing a sportsman's dinner in my hometown of Hyde, you know, to celebrate 20 years of it, and I can't wait. Without doubt, my best night, yeah.
When you look back at it, can you quite believe the support you got? Because when I think of Ricky Hatton, I think about you travelling all over the world and taking thousands of Mancunians with you. I don't think I've seen anything since like it.
No, it was my best achievement when I retired from boxing. You know, I mentioned earlier, you know, I'm at the Hall of Fame, and I got an MBE of King Charles, and, you know, fought at the Etihad Stadium and going over to Vegas, and, you know, and all them things. But when I retired, I never thought present day that I'd still have the love of the fans that I've always had, and I still have. The fans were there for me through the good times, they were there for me through the bad times, they're there for me now. Kids come up to me now, go, "Oh my God, Ricky Hatton." They weren't even born when I was fighting.
Hold on, the spelling to your right. You're
Exactly.
22?
23, just
23.
I was 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Do you remember it?
You know what the mad thing is, right? That's what I was saying to Rick when I got down to the gym. I said, like, I've looked at your fights, but not like as trying to be in them, like trying to study. You know, like when you as a boxer coming through as a prospect, you're looking up to fighters. They're the sort of fights you put on. You know, when you talk about the legendary fights, Costa Azul and him was one of them legendary fights. Yeah, it's one of them ones your dad shows you. It's
probably these prospects like yourself. You've got to look at things like that and say, listen, you know, if he can do it, I can do it. I'll come up the same way. Kid off the council estate, your local boxing gym. You know what I mean? People say, "Oh, being a world champion, God, I'd love to do that." You know, it's not impossible. I did it. You know, simple. And that's the way you've got to.
You've still got to have a huge amount of talent to get to the very top.
Absolutely, yeah. But there's sometimes, the one thing that can beat talent sometimes is heart and ability, and that whether in football, if you're playing against a talented, you're a fullback playing against a talented winger, you kick him up in the air and throw him out of his stride.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You fight, you fight someone
that's illegal, don't you?
Yeah. You fight someone like Floyd Mayweather. I'm never going to outbox him. I'm never going to outspeed him. So what I'm going to do is going to try and get in and try and bully him. And if you do have a good referee on your side, sometimes it works.
Can I ask you about that fight, right? Because I was and still am, of course, a big fan of yours. That fight against Floyd Mayweather, that was in Vegas.
Vegas,
right?
yeah.
And the referee was from Vegas.
Yeah.
I just thought that referee was disgusting.
I really wanted to have a rematch with in Manchester with a Mancunian referee and see how he liked it.
Totally different fight. Honestly, I can say this, right? I can say this because I'm not involved in the fight, and you can't because people might go, he's only saying it. But I thought the referee was absolutely disgusting. Just did not let you fight in that fight.
Yeah, what I always say to everyone, and listen, I'm not saying it's Floyd Mayweather, after all, but
Nearly,
yeah, I know. It's Floyd Mayweather for did it twice then. But yeah, I'm not saying I'd have won the fight anyway. But I think whatever chance I did have, I think they took it off me. The minute that bell went for the first round,
terrible fight.
And I won't mind the same referee refereed me the fight beforehand against Castillo, where we both. He's a Mexican body puncher, I'm a Mancunian body puncher. We're both going at it like there's no tomorrow, and he just stood there and watched us, and the fight was flowing. The fight was at close quarters, and that's what a referee should do. I mean, he was breaking it before. If fighters go in a clinch, you stand back and you wait and you think, right, you have a little look, and then you think, no, he's holding, then you break it up. But how can you break it up before you've had a look? Do you know what I mean?
It was terrible, it really was. As a fan, I can tell you that.
Is it hard then, when you talk about some of the greatest boxers you shared the ring with, and of course you look at Floyd's resume, it's incredible, but would he still be the best you've been in the ring with, or not, because of that reason? Even it never really allowed you to do the Ricky Hatton style fighting.
I knew he'd fought a guy called Michael Maidana who hit harder than me but wasn't as good as me, and he pushed him to a split decision, and I thought, listen, if I get allowed to fight, I might be able to go one better, and I genuinely believe that, but just wasn't allowed to get it, and it's so important. It's a real fine line, when you fight the elite like that. But I did come back to my changing rooms, and I was sat there in the locker room and towel over my head, feeling sorry for myself, devastated. I do remember saying to me, the referee was bad, but oh my Lord, was he good. That's the first time I've ever done that in all my fights.
Well, let me ask you, of course, you fought Manny Pacquiao. I think that was 2009. I think I'm right in saying that's a long time ago. He's returning to the boxing ring. He's been out for 4 years. He's fighting for the WBC welterweight title. That's July the 19th in Vegas, ironically. What did you make of that news when you heard it?
Well, it's boxing today, isn't it? To be honest with you, boxing's, if you can let a 58-year-old Mike Tyson box a Jake Paul, then Manny Pacquiao coming back at 46 doesn't look too bad, does it? But Manny's coming back, though. Tyson was coming back fighting Jake Paul. Manny's coming back fighting for the world title. And I say this with love, how has Manny got his world title shot? He's been retired 6 years. He can't. He's got that on our previous successes, hasn't he? To walk straight after being retired so many years ago, straight into a world title fight. How is that allowed possible? What happened? Surely he must have been dropped out of the rankings when he retired. All of a sudden he decided to make a comeback. They put him straight in at number one contender. I think only boxing can answer that.
I think he's been. Did you say fifth, Joe? He's been already placed fifth in the world ranking.
Fifth in the. How can he be placed back in the top 10?
Comeback fighter.
Yeah, when you've been retired years, and and your previous, he was a hell of a fighter a few years back, but we don't know what he's going to be like today. So you'd like to think he'd have a couple of warm-up fights so we can say, and then get him in. But boxing these days, I think the money's everything in it.
You fought both, obviously. In your opinion, who's better? Who's tougher?
I think Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, I think Floyd Mayweather. I mean, and that sounds rich because he absolutely was probably one of the most brutal knockouts in boxing history, I'd say. When I see him getting knocked out by Pacquiao on Instagram or YouTube or anything like that, it's in the top 10 of the most destructive knockouts of all time.
Yeah.
But I was a little bit past myself back in the day. You know, I'd had one or two. I wasn't a master of defence like Floyd Mayweather. I'd take 4 to get one in sometimes, you know. And
I'm the same, Ricky.
And in between fights, I'd be up in weight, down in weight, up and down in weight, you know, on the lash and, you know, and all that stuff. And that, so wasn't looking after my body like an athlete probably should have done. And I think I was, by the time I got in the ring for the Manny Pacquiao thing, I was a little more a shell of myself. So, but I think when I fought Floyd, I was a little bit more, something like, you know what I mean? Yeah. But when I fought Manny, I think the light had burnt out. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in. It's been a real pleasure. Johnny, listen, best of luck at the weekend. You're fighting at the Copper Box.
Copper Box, yeah.
Just if people are listening, are the tickets, can they come down and watch still, or is it all sold out?
Right, I'm completely sold. I ain't got none in hand, but if you go on Ticketmaster, I believe there's a last couple there.
My
now.
producer just said there's still a few available, so if you want to come down and watch Johnny fight and have another... This will be your 11th fight?
11th
I don't have that in front of me, 11th fight.
11th fight.
Roughly, where are we thinking, Ricky, that if he keeps winning...
Well, if he keeps progressing like the way he's progressing, you know, like he progressed, you know, for the area title, you know what I mean, and won that, straight in for the English title, for the Impressives winning the English title. There's no reason why you can't go straight in for the British title. But I think I speak for Eddie and the rest of the team. We'll just weigh that when if the offer comes in and the opponent comes in, we've all got to weigh it up and make our decision. But so far, the progress is just going like that, innit?
When you become world champion, will you remember us? Will you come back in?
100%. Will you have me back? Do you know what I mean?
You don't need to bring Ricky then, all right? You still got the freewheeler, by the way.
I have, yeah.
Have you still got it?
Yeah, I drove down in it. Yeah,
no, you didn't.
It took me 12 hours.
I think we're on a winner here. Yeah. I think you are on a winner here as well, by the way. So all the best. I've heard good things about you, Johnny. Thanks so much for your time, Ricky. An honour as always.
Cheers,
on
AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.